It's one of the key fundamentals of leadership, and I just always kind of joke, just because everybody can kind of get their head around it, is just kind of curious George, right? Just stay curious, just always be asking questions, like to the point of like annoying, right? Just asking questions and asking questions and asking questions, and that's what really will elevate you as a leader, is being able to do that, right? And you know that's also thinking. Just asking better questions allows us to think better and then form those beliefs. And I really love, just even, Byron Katie's framework, right? When you run into something or you think something and you're like, is that true? Is that absolutely really true?
Right.
What is the truth?
Yeah. Right. Because then you can create a different story for yourself too, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
that's that's deep. That's yeah. And I think, I mean, ultimately, myself included, um, people want to be seen and understood. Um, and when you can see and understand people, and the world opens up.
Yeah.
Um, if you can see and understand yourself, you can see and understand other people. Asking better questions, that's freaking phenomenal. That's one of the things I would always, the skill I would love to learn because I think and do better at.
Yeah, it's when I first really got into coaching, I made the you know, I too many coaches push their agendas on other people. And one of the things that I really knew was not to be true was that it had to be their goals, what they wanted to achieve. And
Yeah,
it's really about them. Now, a great coach can bring the whole tool, all of the tools and frameworks and principles and processes and everything. And none of that matters until you get really clear on what that individual is trying to achieve. And, I joke, I coached somebody out of real estate just this month, right? And it's because it's what's important for them. What's their life? What do they want to achieve? And is this vehicle going to help them find their freedom, or is there a better vehicle for them to be able to do that? And so when I really like kind of made that transition about 10, 11 years ago, kind of still part of running the brokerage, but really more on the coaching side of things. I made an investment and I went into Coactive. Went to like a 3-day event on the fundamentals of coaching through Coactive coaching.
hmm
And it's funny you say that, because about the questions, because that was one of the things that I felt that I needed to improve upon. And yet everybody around me was like, dude, you ask questions all the time. Like, that's like, you're really good at asking questions. And I'm like, wow. Like, I felt that's where I needed the most work and the most help. Yet you see that as a trait. So I say that to like caution you, is that you probably already do ask a lot of great questions because you stay curious.
I try.
And if you just stay curious, and the other ratio, when we look at kind of the stay curious, is really try to monitor your question to statement ratio. And are you asking more questions than you're talking? And as a leader, it's one of the most important things to remember. And I love Jocko, and what Jocko talks about. He says the best missions we went on, I would say 3 words: execute, execute, execute. And he goes, I wouldn't have to say another thing. He said the teams knew what they were supposed to do. They executed. They did their job, and I was able to just be there, support, lead, and I didn't have to say a word. And I'm like, that's leadership.
That's
And that's
amazing.
being able to get to that point. So when for you, because we battle it all the time, right? So and and I think you've already answered this, and it's you have to be able to lead yourself and coach yourself through this before you can lead or coach. And you said see, like, man, I really, if you can see other people,
hmm
do you believe that you need to be able to see yourself first before you can see others?
Actually, Jarek Robbins just talked about this when I saw you. I don't know, just a couple weeks ago, or whatever, right? He was basically talking about managing yourself, managing others when you're not around, which is like, or leading others when you're not around, like what you just said with Jocko. right? He just said 3 words. He really didn't even need to say those 3 words. He probably didn't even need to be present, and his people would have
Correct.
executed, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, I think it's not like you're gonna master just yourself before you can help other people. No. I think all of them are happening simultaneously,
Yeah.
right? So I can have a day where I feel like I'm on my A game. I got out of bed, I did my workout in, I made my calls, I did like whatever, and then I feel like these people aren't listening to a damn thing I say or something, right? Or I could have the flip on that kind of a thing of like, all right, fine. Yeah, I totally ditched my workout this morning. I sat and sipped coffee with my spouse, and and then I come here, and I'm like, you guys are just freaking moving without me. This is great. Like I love it. So it's something that you have to keep an eye on and keep them all in check at the same time. I don't think they happen one in the series of the next, not at all. Um, I mean, maybe I'm a bit off on that, but I mean, it would be hard if you didn't have some baseline, though. Let me say that part. You need to have a baseline before other people will respect you and what you're doing,
Sure.
right? If
Sure.
John, if you never ran a marathon before and you said, "Hey, you guys need to do this and this to run a marathon," I'd be like, "Okay, dude."
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like, "You want
Yeah.
me to do what? And you never did it?
Right.
Oh, you're gonna
Yeah.
ride along in the car next to me? Okay."
Yeah. There's an element of that for sure.
Yeah.
And even at certain levels, um, we we were able to connect with people. I remember, Clayton Mask had a tremendous influence on all of us. CEO of Infusionsoft, and we were able to be in his high level private mastermind for about 3 or 4 years, and just an incredible human being. And he really pushed on us from a leadership perspective. And we got to meet his personal coach, Steve Hardison, and Steve's $150,000 on January 1st, right? You write a check, 150 G's, and you got to go see Steve to get coached by him. He's in Arizona, and he Clay worked with him and helped him get the business to where it was. And then Clay said, he felt he had to work with somebody else to help get his business to the next level. And he said it was okay for a certain point, yet he had to go back to Steve because Steve challenged who he was as a human being
Mhm.
more so than challenging him to help him grow his business. And so sometimes, we need that in our life. This, I mean, you do as well. I mean, just we all have to have great coaches in our lives,
Yeah.
and just for wherever area that we're trying to improve, wherever we're trying to get better. And so that helps for me, you know, my kind of like my personal coach that helps me with all the head stuff. And he's critical. But he helps me with those limiting beliefs. He helps me to increase my thinking and remove the contamination, right? Because that's limiting beliefs is just contamination. Because what we just talked about, Michelle, with the when we have that limiting belief, then that leads to negative feelings,
Mm,
and those negative feelings and those negative emotions are driven when those are driven up. That means our understanding about something and our trust is real low. So for you as a leader, for what you do really well by what you were saying is you stay curious,
yeah, I try.
is you find where where they're not understanding something
Yeah.
and how you can help them build trust. And then that brings that negative emotion down.
Yes.
Now they're receptive. Now they're able to work through it and you're able to help them.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You have to have some baseline for it of trust, right? Or you have to have some sort of baseline for it. But that challenging, which is actually I think in our topic here, but that challenging your mindset or challenging those limiting beliefs, that's one of the hardest freaking things to do. Like
Yeah.
I think you do need a coach to call that out of you most often.
Yeah.
It's good luck doing it on your own. If you don't
Right.
have a coach or a mentor, you need to have somebody that you trust that's really going to give you the hard advice that you might not want to hear.
Hmm.
Like and say it with love. Um,
Right.
because sometimes it is hard to even see it for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, look, it's really hard to break the habit of being yourself. That's what Joe Dispenza talks about. That's like the book, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to break the habit of being yourself. And you're like, okay. I mean, look, you get out of bed the same side of the bed every morning, probably. Unless you guys
Correct.
really spice it up. I don't know. That's crazy. But to me, but you get out the same side of the bed, you grab for the same color toothbrush, right? You're wearing the same clothes that you wore 2 weeks ago, unless
Right.
the weather's dramatically changed, but whatever. You're like, it's you're gonna drive to the office in the same way for the most part. Like it's very hard to break that pattern of being yourself. And that can be in conversation, the way you think, the way you live your life, and your physical actions of rolling out of bed the same way and grabbing for the same toothbrush are going to trigger some of the same thoughts. I mean,
So
that's
what are some of your what are some of your actionable items to work through that
yeah,
that somebody can be thinking about, right? It's hard. I believe it. I believe you have to. It's something that you need to do daily to
yeah.
keep that. And it's how do you flip that switch daily within to control that? And I have certain things that if I don't do, I know that mindset will start to creep in.
Mm.
For me, it's the physical stuff, right? I mean, that's why I keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because I just want to remind it's a reminder to myself who's in charge. And so it really is. So for you, what are those actionable items that to keep that in check, the things that you got to do daily to reignite that?
I agree with you on physical. Like when I'm away from working out, my emotions get all out of whack.
Yeah.
My emotions do, which is
Mhm.
like, huh? Like Michelle be popping off at the mouth. So, but I get, but you do. Yeah, that is definitely a way to keep yourself in check. Learning to tell yourself no and sticking to it. Something so simple that I'll do, like if I'm on the treadmill and I see that somebody, pops up on my feed or wants to, is texting me or something like that, and I've got the stopwatch going, I like want to, even if I'm walking and doing a cool down, I want to like clean up my email and see what's going on or whatever. But I'm like, no, no, like I got to talk to myself like I'm a dog. Leave it, like, like, but like practicing something that small of like, you have 5 more minutes on the tread before you can check your phone.
Right.
Like it's building a muscle towards it.
Mhm.
You know, this is, I mean, for years and years and years, I just think back to my daily schedule is like, I was committed. I was not going on any listing or real estate related appointments until after 1 o'clock 5 days a week. I don't care. Good luck getting me. Like it ain't happening. I'm on the phone in the morning and making my outbound calls. I eat lunch, then I hit the road. And I just was disciplined in what I would allow into my schedule. And yeah, I mean it's this morning I broke my rule. I can sit and have leisurely coffee on the weekends. That's a weekend treat. And this morning I was like, I woke up a little chill in the air, it started raining. I was like, I just want a cup of coffee. And it dominoed my whole damn day. And here we go again. That's the dark side. Like, I caved into it. I was like, all right, you can break the rules this morning and have a cup of coffee. And then I'm racing and scrambling for the domino the rest of the day to kind of get here with you.
Yeah.
But you be reminded of those times where you broke the rules and or gave yourself too much grace and let yourself off the hook and it didn't go the way that you wanted. The more often you keep yourself on the hook, then the more often it's going to go your way and you're going to be able to hit that stride that you're looking to achieve.
You said the key word there is discipline.
Mm.
And the Ryan Holiday's my favorite author, and his newest book is called Discipline is Destiny.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. Okay.
And he it's just one of the virtues. And discipline comes after courage, and courage is really having the courage to put it on the line, and discipline is the ability to keep our butt in line. And I see Renee Velasquez made a comment here, and I host a quarterly event, Kitchen Table, and at the second one that we did, we were sitting around after dinner one evening, and there was about a dozen of us. We were sitting there, and she said, you've had the opportunity to work with some of the best. And she goes, what's the one thing that stands out? And I didn't even let her finish. And I said, discipline. I said, those that are the most disciplined to their thoughts, they're disciplined to how they, show up every day. They're disciplined to their actions. They're disciplined to follow through, even on the days they don't want to follow through. That's the separator. Discipline is the separator from average to whatever level that you want to achieve to.